welcome to the Geeks 31 Days of Horror for Halloween. This is Lil.
And this is Steve.
And tonight we're reviewing The Rental from 2020. So for those of you who have not been with us before, we will play for you our rating system.
There's a rating system in place that we like to call 0 to 0. If whatever horror movie we're reviewing is terrifying only to the most infantile who get nightmares from PG-13 reboots, it gets a 0. If it's a gorgasm-inducing slaughter party that satiates your most devious and monstrous desires, it gets a hero.
Two couples run a vacation home for what should be a celebratory weekend getaway. Sure. Starring Dan Stevens, Alison Brie, Sheila Vand, and Jeremy Allen White. Directed by Dave Franco. I was like, what? Okay. Well, of course, Alison Brie's in it. That's his wife, so sure. So start pulling a Rob Zombie and throwing Alison Brie in every movie. Although
at least Alison Brie can act.
I was gonna say I do like Alison Brie. So, so The Rental, and I'll start. It's a 0. I do not like this movie. I did not like any of the characters in the movie, and it's weird because they all acted well. They're all good actors. I just didn't like them. I just didn't like them as people in who they portrayed, and there was no horror in this movie. Like I don't know if it was the directing, if it was the writing. There was no suspense. It's just all of a sudden like you get an hour and 20 minutes in, and all of a sudden now like we're going down like, oh no, this is happening, and like boom, bam, and you're hit with murder. It's just not good. I don't like it at all. Like I can put up with bad movies, which we have a lot. I don't like movies that to me feel like they're pretentious bad. And that's what I feel here. It's like, I don't know. It's like whoever wrote it, it's like, oh, I'm going to put actors in this and we're going to make it seem real and they're brothers and this and that. And we're going to do drugs and this and that. And then have this whole sexcapade thing. It's just, I didn't like it. I just didn't enjoy any bit of it. I tried. Steve, you talked about it in another movie we reviewed. How many times I tried starting this movie 3 times. And I was like, I got to get through this because I told Steve to watch it, and I forced myself to finish it. I just didn't like it. It's a 0. I do not recommend this movie. And again, I know like a lot of the actors here. You got the guy from The Bear. You got Dan Stevens, who's been in a lot of things that we've seen and reviewed on the show. Just don't like it. You?
I'm teetering a little. I'm teetering on a 0 and a low sidekick. I also don't really like this movie, but again, like you said, these guys, everyone here acted really well. Like they did their job. They showed up. I even feel like Dave Franco as a director did all right. Like the cinematography was good, and like it was paced well. It was just not a very good story. And you're right, every single person in this movie is unlikable. Even the fucking guy that's like helping them out at the house. He is a piece of shit. Maybe he's not the piece of shit they think he is. Maybe he's not the kind of dog stealing peeping Tom piece of shit. But he is still a racist piece of shit and very rude. Not worthy of being murdered, but not a good person. And then it is a 0 and here's why. Because the movie could have just been that. And that probably would have been a low sidekick. Like, ooh, like what a terrible fucking circumstance this is. This is really bad. This is what one bad fucking decision and one bad day can do. But then the movie's like, and now we have a masked killer. And I was like,
that's what pissed me off.
What the fuck is this? And then the whole ending, this whole hide in the face bullshit and fucking, oh, he's gonna do it again. Get the fuck out of here. I was disgusted at that. I was like, fuck you, movie. What? Like, and it's like, oh, isn't it clever? Like, it just could be anybody. This could be anybody, anywhere, doing anything. Look, it could be anywhere. And fucking get out of here. I don't like that shit. So the ending really tanked it for me. I actually was kind of responding to like the tension buildup. I was kind of getting all involved with the characters, all Real Housewives style. Like, I don't know if you want to go into spoilers right now. We need a spoiler alert.
Let's get into spoilers.
Spoilers. Spoilers.
Okay, so the two brothers, they're both dating this girl. Well, Dan Stevens is married. The dude from The Bear, and I can't remember his name in real life. He's got like a long name. I'm going to just call him Carmy because that's who he is in The Bear.
Jeremy Allen White.
Jeremy Allen White. That's not a long name at all. I'm just lazy. Lazy and uninformed. So he's dating this girl that's way above his pay grade, and she's partnered up with Dan Stevens in a work relationship / friendship that absolutely no woman would tolerate. No married woman married to that man would be like okay with this. And the way they're like walking on the beach and shit, like laughing and looking longingly at each other, and the wife's like, "Oh, they're just friends, isn't it cute?" You know they're fucking. Like, cut it out. And apparently they weren't until this movie, until some Molly in a hot tub got involved, and then shit got weird. But it's like so many bad circumstances, like leading in, like that happens. And yes, that's terrible. That's awful. That's, but you could argue, they were fucking high and drunk, and like people are not themselves when they're in that inebriated state, and mistakes happen, obviously. Not that that's an excuse, but it is a fact. So you could see that, and then you could see how remorseful they were the next day, and how they were, and they really were. And I bought it. I was like, man, like this, they're really not going to fuck around like this. And you believe it's believable. But then you get like Jeremy Allen White, now I know his name, walking around with Alison Brie in the woods, and she's going to be pissed off at Dan Stevens because he was with a girl that when he got with the girl he was with before he got with her. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're just looking for shit.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
Like, and if you're the kind of person that is okay with your husband being in a work / friendship with this lady, working all hours of the night and all that, then you would not be sweating 3 girlfriends ago when you've been married to this cat for like the last decade. Like, what are you even talking about? The whole fact that she was even upset at anything was just like, okay, I don't understand any of this.
I agree, and I think that's where I was lost with it. I get where they were going. You have that night, and then they find the camera in the shower head. It's like, now that it's trying to build this tension.
But you could feel that panic attack, right?
Yeah.
That camera's there. Like, everybody who's had a panic attack knows. Like, that's.
And they check crazy, right? But I think, like you said, like it felt like forced drama to try to up the issue here, and that's where it lost me, because right what you said was when Alison Brie and the bear were going out in the forest and having their talk, and she's getting all mad about, again, like you said, a thing that happened a decade ago, and then he comes in, slaps his brother's head, like all this stupid shit for people that I feel like are in our age group, but they all are acting like they're a lot younger than us, and I'm like, they're not. But it just felt forced. Again, that's where I'm at. Like, again, I don't know if it's the writing, the directing, how they're trying to take us through the story. It all felt forced. It didn't feel like it was like the story wasn't coming to them. They weren't, stuck in this situation because of circumstance. It was forceful bullshit. And that's what, like, oh, I'm going to bring out the Molly, and now I'm not going to take it because I'm tired. But, like, why? Why even do that?
Oh, I'm going to do that tomorrow night. Like, and everyone's all fucking hungover and wrecked the next day. You're like, you think anybody's going to be, like, game for that? Like, none of the decisions made any sense. Also, like, where's my dog? Oh, my God. Like, then we get 10 minutes of them walking around yelling the dog's name. Like, Jesus Christ. And then, so then, they call the caretaker back over, to fix the hot tub, I think, because the wife gets all fucked up while everybody else isn't. She wants the hot tub working. And then they all accuse the caretaker of the cameras. Shit gets wild. Fucking the bear comes in, Carmy, and murders this guy. Beats him. No, he beats him to where he's unconscious. But then the mass killer comes in and suffocates him, and you're just like, who the fuck is this guy? That's the first time I think you even see him. I mean, you've seen like a person, like a shadow or like a shape, but like I just thought it was the caretaker the whole time, and then it's not, and like that's fine. But like, who the fuck is this guy? And guess what? Spoiler alert: you don't fucking know.
Has nothing to do with anything, and I get
he
that.
Could be anybody.
The unknown, that I get it.
No, I've been here for fucking an hour and a half, 2 hours on this fucking slow ass ride. There better be a fucking payoff.
And there's not. Everybody's dead. I mean, Allison Brie drives off, hits a tree because there's spikes in the road. The guy comes out of nowhere and bashes her head in with a hammer. Then he texts Dan Stevens to come out there because he was in an accident, and he bashes him with a hammer. I mean, like, it's not even like it's clever or scary. He's just running out.
Carmy falls and then gets his head bashed in with a hammer.
Yep.
All these bashes happen either in silhouette, off screen, or like in the case of Carmy, like you just kind of see the hammer come down. And then you get like a shot of him, the bad guy kneeling up, and then Carmy's head is like blood, and it's just like, okay. And then the final girl, she just falls off a cliff. So
she's running away from him. She's running away from him, and they made that comment earlier in the movie, like, you got to be careful, you want to fall off a cliff. Or the dog. I'm like, all right.
Right away.
Right when she started running to the forest, I'm like, all right, well, she's just going to drop. And that's what happened. She's just running through the fog and blop. And the killer just looks over and then leaves. And
not even a good suit. Just like he's just like a dude in like jeans and like a fucking Dickies black jacket and like like a solid black mask.
Yeah, it's not good. I just didn't like it at all. Like I'm just so disappointed. Like
it ends with him going to another Airbnb and setting up all the cameras and microphones and all that shit at a new house, and then it gives you a little bit of footage of some other random people. But
then he's going to be following, that he's watching because he's set up all those cameras
and credits. And I was like, man, Alil's not good at this.
I just randomly Google these fast. I'm trying to get us through, And also the thing is too, Steve, like we've watched over 10 years of 31 days, we've watched a lot of horror movies. So now it's getting tough. It's getting tough to find movies.
I know. We still have conversations about, did we review that? I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm watching a movie. I'm like,
I get mixed up because I reviewed a whole bunch of shit with those Horror Returns guys. And so I'm like, well, what? I know I reviewed it, but what show did I review it on? It gets confusing.
Right. So a lot of times I'm like, hey, what's new? And like, I'm like, oh, look at this one, 2020. I'm like, well, over the last couple of years, I know we didn't watch this one. All right, let's watch this one. And they're not going to be all winners, and this one clearly wasn't. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. And this is Alil.
And this is Steven. Until tomorrow night, everybody, keep it creepier than this terrible movie was.